Yo everybody and welcome back to Let's Play Steins. Before we start off, no, we still can't talk to Krizu. And on the news we have our next top story. The Ministry of Health announced that there have been no reported cases in Japan of the new form of encephalitis, I have no idea, that is ravaging America. But this new virus has a long incubation period. They cannot deny the possibility that it already arrived in Japan. The ministry has ordered that all medical organizations in the country to draw up treatment plans and investigate the virus spread. We are here with Soko Hayayama of Ochonamizu Medical University. So, Mr. Hayayama, what are the symptoms does this new I have no idea that word. The new virus does not spread easily, but has a long incubation period and appears without warning. The main symptoms are hallucination and memory problems. For example, you may think you are at work and suddenly you find yourself at home, or have memories of meeting someone you've never met. There have been reports of that. This is sounding really bad. Also, memories can be confused. You might have memories of events that never occurred. You lose the ability to tell the difference between dream and reality, perhaps your sense of passage of time. In some cases, your memory will no longer match those of people around you. Reading Steiner. You could describe it similar to deja vu, or even this feeling you get when you're only half awake, but the symptoms are far more pronounced than that. The name of a strange sensation in which you feel you've been through the situation before, even if you know that you can't possibly have done so. The sensation is strong and realistic enough that you cannot simply be attributed to forgetfulness or imagination. But since you can't remember when or where you experienced it before, it creates a strong feeling of unease. The cause of this sensation is still unknown. One theory says that it's a result of an extremely rare but temporary dysfunction between the parts of the brain that govern recall and memory. Another theory suggests that this is a result of temporary spasm in the hippocampus gyrus. I feel like I've read that before somewhere. Anyways, this is worrying. What about treatment methods? Unlike other forms of pass, we have no idea. We know that with proper treatment, a full recovery is possible. So even if we do have some cases in Japan, it's not the matter for serious concern. The reporter was still talking, but I couldn't hear what she was saying. The information I'd heard was that shocking. A new kind of encephalitis? I knew the symptoms she was describing. Losing the ability to discriminate between dream and reality. Losing your sense of passage of time. Your memories no longer match those of the people around you. That was exactly the same as reading Steiner. Suzuha. Okay. Back in 1975. The interior of the time machine smelled like metal and was covered in instruments of different sizes. The girl inside was sobbing. And it looked a lot different than it did in Steins. It had been almost an hour since Susan had left to go look around. She assumed that Kagari would stop crying by then, but she had no such luck. How long are you going to keep crying? You need to get it together. Think of how big Sis Mayu felt. Kagishi looked up at Suzuha, her face was wet with tears. So don't cry, it's annoying. Ouch. But Suzuha walked over to Kagari and knelt down so they'll be at eye level. She had no intention of spoiling her. Her goal was to save billions of lives, and this was her first mission. Listen, from now on, I'm treating you as a member of Valkyrie, and you work for me, and you're not a civilian. Valkyrie, demigods of Norse mythology. There are many Valkyries, but at least several dozen are given names. They choose who will die on the battlefield and who will be victorious. And they take the souls of those who fight bravely to Valhalla and prepare for the coming Ragnarok. Skuld, one of the three Norns, and the goddess of the future, is a Valkyrie. This is the year 1975. No one we knew is alive here. Dad and Big Sis Maru haven't been born yet. In other words, there's no one to protect us. The only one who can protect you is yourself. Got it? Yeah. Kagari was a brave girl, and she finally realized that now wasn't the time for tears. She tried to stop crying. It wasn't working well, but it was a lot better for her emotions than sobbing. She was a smart girl. Suzuha knew that. There's not a lot of time left. If someone comes from this era finds the time machine, it'll cause a big commotion. The machine had landed on the roof of the radio building, which wasn't a spot that people visited often. The chances of anyone finding them was slim. But in this era, they had no one to help them conceal it. It meant they couldn't stay long. She needed to finish her mission quickly and move on to the next time period. If something goes wrong, can't we just use the time machine to come back? There's not enough fuel. We can't jump an infinite number of times. If it won't work when it really counts, then this is all for nothing. I see. Can you stand up? Suzuha stepped out of the machine and beckoned to Kagari. Kagari looked surprised. Her eyes were narrowed at the bright sunlight. The sky above Tokyo in this time period was too dirty to be called blue. Smoke and dust clouds filled the who knew what with who knew what. Wait. Tokyo in this time period was too dirty to be called blue. Smoke and dust clouds filled with who knew what were rising from rows of smoke stacks, all combined with black exhaust from the cars and scud along the ground to create a smog so that you could literally see it. The sky above the city was covered by a veil of death. But still, it was the first clear sky that Kagari had ever seen. She had only ever known from books and videos that the city could be this bright. The nuclear weapons used during the Third World War had changed the weather over Tokyo, and the sky was constantly covered in dull grey clouds. The sun's light was always weak when it shone through them. It was never this bright. When I was a kid, the sky was still like this. I don't remember much, but I remember a little. Suzuha looked up at the sky too. The air is so clean. In 2036, you need a filter and a mask to go outside for any length of time. Compared that to 1975, was a lot cleaner. Now you understand why everyone was willing to risk all to change the world line, right, Kagari? The world lines, history, you can worry about that stuff later. For now, let's focus on protecting this sky. Kagari slipped her hand into her pocket and took out the faded green Upa keychain. She stared at it with a sad look on her face. She was probably thinking about Mayuri, her mother, and she was probably trying to understand what it meant that her mother had put her inside the time machine. Suza decided that Kagari was alright now and closed the hatch for the time machine from the outside. The lock flipped on automatically. The only person who could open it now was Suzuha, whose biometrics had been loaded into the system ahead of time. Even if someone did find the machine, it would be a while before they found out what it was. Kagari, look at this. Suzuha handed her a printout of a photo. What is this? It's a retro PC called the IBM 5100. Oh, wait, wrong one. Fictional. IBM's first portable computer. That's what I don't get about the whole fictional thing. Which went to the sale in 1975. It's, I don't know. The design included an integrated monitor and keyboard, and while it was designed to be portable, it weighs almost 25 kilograms. In the 2000s, John tried to reveal that there was a special computer language that could only be used on the device of this type, which was not described in the manual. IBM's developer would later admit that he was correct. Once again, also true. None of the ones in our time still work, but here, we should be able to find a working one. The first mission, and yours, is to split up and find it. Yeah. We can communicate with this. She handed Kagari a small transceiver. I was told it doesn't have a very long range, so don't expect too much from it. Okie dokie. That was adorable. We meet up in front of the building every 90 minutes for a status report. Got it? Adorable. Good answer. Suza nodded and patted Suza nodded and patted Suza on the head. Good job, me. Thanks, me. Suza nodded and patted Kagari on the head. Okay, let's get started. Suza was on top of the radio building in 2010 looking down. 35 years, huh? How long ago had it been in real time? That's how long ago it had been in real time since she'd spoken to Kagari here. From her perspective, it was only been a few months. The view from up here had changed a lot since then, and in the next 26 years it would change even more. She'd seen herself now. This building changed a span of 61 years. She'd seen herself how this building changed over a span of 61 years. The thought didn't make her feel sentimental. Instead, she felt the loneliness and fear that comes from having a past not shared with anyone else. Using the time machine to change the world lines means breaking the rules of the universe. Akabe Minator's words flashed through her mind. Lately, she'd been thinking more about Kagari. She'd been searching the city at regular intervals. She was looking for Kagari Shina. She didn't even know if she was in Tokyo. She had no clues. She didn't even know what Kagari looked like now. So maybe it was a waste of time. Even so, she had to find Kagari herself, but she hadn't had any better luck today. She turned around and looked towards the time machine. She would come here every day. The primary reason for coming was to see if her father, Daru, why I struggled with that for so long, I have no idea, Daru had been here. Anytime she let her guard down, he would come to try and examine it. She told him it would cause a time paradox, but he doesn't listen. She needed to keep constant watch. To be honest, she had a lot of things she had to do. Then she heard the metal door of the roof open. Was it her dad? She squinted in the darkness, but the person she saw was much smaller than Utaro, and had a cat ears coming out of their head. Ferris? Yeah, there you are. Suzunya, good evening. Oh, it's you, big sis Rumi. First, Nyah Nyah had a spring in her step as she approached Suzuha. Who's Rumus? Rumus? Rumi, I'm Ferris, Nyah. Your big sis Rumi. Ferris's real name was Rumio Akiha. She was Dao's friend and had helped them in many different ways in 2036. So Suzuha had known her ever since she was young, and has always called her big sis Rumi. For whatever reason, in this area she always wanted to be called Ferris though. When Suzuha asked why, she simply responded, Ferris is Ferris, Nyah. That answer which meant nothing to Suzuha. No one was in the lab, so I thought you might be here. Guess I was right. Here, I bought you a snack. It's leftovers though. Ferris showed her a cake box with the logo from the maid cafe where she worked. May Queen plus Nyan squared. I'm adding the plus. as part of Defiance for some reason. I'm glad Dad wasn't at the lab. If he ate something like this at this hour, he'd get even fatter. It's not from Nyah Nyah. It's for you. For me? Why? You know you love it. First grinned and nudged Suzuha in the side with her elbow. I don't. There's an apple tart, a Mont Blanc, and a piece of strawberry shortcake too. See? Doesn't it look good, Nyah? First opened the box and showed her what was inside. Suzuha could smell the sweet cream and fruit. Come on, eat up. Don't worry about a thing, Nyah. Open wide. I'll feed you right in. I'll feed it right in your cute mouth, little mouth. I'll feed it right into your cute little mouth. I'll put it in the fridge for tomorrow. You're such a stoic, Suzunya. First laughed and handed over the box. They expire tomorrow, so make sure you eat them before they do. Thanks. You're welcome. First gave me a mischievous wink and then looked up at the time machine beside them. How's Nyah Nyah's time machine research going? He's working hard, I guess. Big sis Rumi, is it okay to leave this machine here? Suzuha looked around the roof as she asked. It was solely thanks to Ferris that no one had really noticed this massive object on the roof. She was the heir to the rich family that had a lot of influence in the area that had contributed a lot to the development of Akihabara. She was helping to hide the time machine. Yep. I rented out the whole roof, the floor, or roof. I guess it's fine, yeah. I told the owner that we're developing a VR game. It's not the best excuse in the world, but it works. It's a huge help. Don't worry about it. I'm always ready to help to save the world's elements from... winged interstellar creature that appeared in the Cthulhu mythos. They were created by Bayaki? August Deleth, the co-creator of the Cthulhu mythos along with H.P. Lovecraft, and appear in such stories as The House on Quern Street. They're described as being chimera-like creatures with around 7 meters tall, with wings of a dinosaur the legs of an eagle and a tail of like a bee. Despite the terrifying appearance, they understand human speech, and if they feel it's in their best interest, they can even work together with humans. In space, they usually travel at around 1/10 of light speed, but an organ called the hune in their tail allows them to fly faster than the speed of light. The brachy are supposedly servants of Haster, the god of shepherds, a creation of the... What's the famous devil? Okay. Four elements. Four elements who control... There's four spirits who control the elements of earth, water, fire, and air. The existence was first proposed in the Swiss alchemist principles in his book, the Book of Fairies, and... Oh gosh, there's a lot of stuff here. The Book of Fairies, he described them as being not dead like ghosts, but not alive like humans, and being spiritual creatures of extremely nebulous nature. They're struggling to explain exactly what they were, and in the end decided to classify them as things. He divided them as follows. The element of the earth is controlled by the pyramids, the pygmies of the mountain, or the gnomes. The element of water is controlled by the nymphs of the water, or the undine. The element of fire is controlled by the salamanders of fire, or the Vulcans. The element of air is controlled by the sylphs of wind, or the Celestins. Theory that had a huge effect on alchemists and authors both of his own and later generations, who filled in the gaps of his work. In the fantasy genre in particular, elements have become a mainstay. Yeah, right. Since many years ago, well, I guess many years in the future, I've been wondering, but sometimes what you say is really hard to understand. What language is that? Don't think, Nyah. Feel. Oh, come on. It's so cold. I think I'm going home, Nyah. In the end, she could never get an answer. To Suzuha, Ferris was always a great mystery. I'll walk you home. Let's go together. Yeah? Then you can have dinner at my place too. That wasn't what I meant. You never eat any real food, do you? Whenever I see how stoic you are, you always feel like I have to do something, yeah. Like a protective or motherly feeling. It stirs something like that within me. I'm just fine. Before she finished the sentence, she felt someone looking at her. She glanced around. Huh? What was it? She listened carefully. She definitely heard the faint sound from the direction of the metal door that led to the stairs. It was small enough that Suzuha was only able to notice it because of her training. Someone's there. They probably heard us. Most of their discussion was worthless, but they talk about the time machine a little. Someone heard that. Suzuha yanked her gun from her jacket and in an instant ran towards the stairs as fast as she could. She heard someone running down the stairs as soon as she did. The sound heavy military boots in a wide stride got further and further. They're fast. She opened the door and jumped into the landing. Then she reached down the stairs, skipping 3 steps with every stride. But still, it wasn't fast enough. Suzuha was born fast, and she'd been trained to be faster, but it wasn't enough. When they finally made it to the 2nd floor, she could hear the loud revving of a motorcycle. No. She panicked and slipped on an object that had been left halfway up the stairs, then rolled her way to the bottom. She managed to get into the right position to protect her head, so it was her hips that struck the ground. She forced herself to stand up and run outside. She could see the taillights of a large motorcycle speeding away. The driver was wearing a black helmet and a riding suit, and already a good distance away. She couldn't tell if they were a man or a woman. They revved their engine loudly as if to mock her, and then spun the corner and disappeared into Central Street. Well then. A little later, Ferris calls up. Are you okay, Nyah? They go away. You should put that away. Oh. She put the gun in her hand back in her jacket holster and brushed away her hair. That sweat stuck to her brow. Who was that, Nyah? I don't know. But they weren't a civilian. They'd been trained. Trained? Was there anything on the stairs? A bag. It was right where I couldn't see it. They probably dropped it deliberately, and they revved their engine right when I was coming by it. I fell for it. You mean it was a trap, Nyah? Only someone with special training could do that on a moment's notice. No one else could. Suzuki glared in the direction of the bike's disappearance and started to think. Who was it? Seren? There was an unofficial Seren group, the Rounders, that were searching for IBN 5100s in Akihabara. Wakabe Minato had told her that, but he'd only encountered them on another world line. I don't know who it was, but it's clear that someone other than us knows about the time machine. Was it that they knew about it, or was it that they knew about it but weren't going to do anything more? Or did they intend to steal the time machine from her? Since she didn't know, she had to assume the worst, or she wouldn't be prepared to deal with it. She looked at the sky and sighed. It was becoming a bad habit. Hey, Big Sis Rumi, don't tell Uncle Ocarine and the others, okay? Why? If Uncle Ocarine knew about this, he might say it was too dangerous, and that we had to destroy the time machine, you know? True, but I'm going to protect the time machine, no matter what. I need to take Uncle Ocarine to the entrance to Steins Gate. That was the promise I made to my dad, and to all the people who sent me here. Alright, Nyah. In exchange, just make sure you tell Daru. Huh. The last part was almost a whisper as her words melted into Akihabara's sky. Well then, that was definitely different. Oh. Maho was fidgeting. She knew exactly why, but she didn't want to admit it. Maho, are you ready? Oh, yeah. She awkwardly stood up from the chair as Dr. Leanskin spoke to her. What? I thought you'd put more effort into it, but I guess not. Dr. Leanskin stared at her for a moment, and then spoke. It was obvious he was referring to her outfit. I'm not going to a party like it was last time. You wore your lab coat to that too. That was because I forgot my clothes. That's right. Leanskin was wearing his translator all the time these days. In fact, he'd actually told Maho to talk to him in Japanese. Now then, I can't wait to hear what kind of relationship Lin Tahol and Krisu have established. Maho and Dr. Leanskin was about to head to Tokyo proper. There they would meet with Okabe Rinto. It had been 2 weeks since they first asked him to test Amadeus. It was time for the first report. Of course, this was the reason Maho was fidgeting. She was nervous to meet Okabe. No, to see Krisu for the first time in quite a while. Of course, Maho was able to talk to Krisu at any time she wanted, but since she'd asked Okabe to be a tester, she tried to avoid doing so as much as possible. She didn't want her conversations to add to extra noise. Professor, before we leave, can I ask you something? Whatever you like. Why, Okabe? Maho had wanted to ask Dr. Linskin that for a long time. If she's going to ask it, though, now was the time. Dr. Linskin thought for a moment. Are you jealous, Maho? She felt heat rush to her face. In other words, he was right. Yeah, she was jealous of Okabe. Not that she wanted to admit it. To be honest, it bothers me. There are other people who could be her conversation partner. You, for instance? I'm not saying that. I'm too close to Krisu and Amadeus. Rintaro is a good guy. To really believe that, you're naive. It's possible to really understand someone after only meeting them once. What if he secretly sells Amadeus to another lab? Even if he doesn't plan to at first, he might change his mind if they showed him enough money. That's human nature. Let's say Rintaro did sell Amadeus. What would happen then? Would whoever got her access rights be able to become friends with Krisu and take over Amadeus? Well... Maho asked herself that question and then realized the chance was almost zero. That would be impossible. Yes, it's impossible. Because of that, because if that happened, Krisu would refuse to talk to them. In a sense, Amadeus is a very difficult system. It doesn't do what you want it to. Of course, it is possible that Amadeus could be persuaded, but you could say that's why I choose you and Krisu as its models. Dr. Linskin gave me a mischievous wink. Both Krisu and I have difficult personalities. It would be hard to persuade us to do anything. She knew he was teasing her, so she decided to say it. Indeed, you two are truly merciless. And that is the best security I could get. That sounds like an insult. You two are the finest ladies of our institution has to offer. Dr. Linskin laughed happily. He always had a childlike innocence about him. Either way, the Amadeus AI is a tricky thing. You could say that's what makes it interesting. Keeping them to ourselves wouldn't bring us any progress, will it? I'd been thinking about how I wanted to find a catalyst that could prompt Amadeus to really evolve. And I wanted to be someone who didn't have anything to do with the research. Rintaro is smart, and I think he's a good choice. He's also a friend of Krisu's. Anyway, why not see what he says today before you decide? First, let's see how Krisu has changed since she started spending time with Rintaro. We might see a side of her that we've never seen before. Yeah. That was what was making her nervous. If Krisu changed into someone she didn't know, that would make her sad. It's time. Let's go. Maho nodded. Oh. Back to Okabe. Hey, at the shrine. No. Okay. I walked into the grounds of Yanabayashi Shrine and quietly took a look around. Several cats were sunbathing beneath the cold winter sky, but there was no sign of anyone else. Lukako wasn't back from school yet. Okay. I could talk to Chrisu without anyone staring at me. Here. Okay. I was supposed to meet with Dr. Leanskin and Maho after this. Before that happened, I wanted to confirm something with Chrisu. Okay. Okay. I decided to start the app. Okay. There we go. Nope. Nope. There we go. Hello. We need to talk. You're meeting with the professor and Maho after this, right? Is that what this is about? Yeah. Is there a reason to be nervous? Basically turn over the logs and then I'll ask you some quick questions about your impression of me. That's it, the logs. That's what I've been wanting to talk about. Have all of our conversations been recorded? I told you that when we started, right? I keep logs in a place where no one but me can access them. Are you not listening? Are you going to submit them to the Professor and Heiyaji, Joe? Probably. Which means, if I say something personal to you, Dr. Leanskin and Maho will hear it. You're just realizing this now? You're just now realizing this? Yeah, it was a little late. Chris and I had been talking for 2 weeks. I should have asked her about this when I got access key for Amadeus. I just realized today. Hey, have I told you anything I shouldn't have so far? Like the fact that you were barely able to talk to any girls at the matchmaking... Like the fact that you're barely able to talk to any girls at the matchmaking party? Or the fact that your family sells vegetables but hate eggplants? But you hate eggplants? I don't hate eggplants. I'm just not very good at eating them. If that was all, I don't really care. Or the fact that the first time we talked you called me Christina. Please forget about that. Human memories are ambiguous, and as time passes they become more subjective and tend to be complicated, compressed into a single narrative. Regardless of whether the memory is a good or bad one, it's common to only be able to remember words that left an impression, and that impression will often alter your memories of surrounding conversation. Huh? What is she talking about? I'm not saying that's a bad thing, that's just how human memories work. But Amadeus isn't a human, it's an incomplete AI, still in the research stage. This is a big problem for Maho and the professor, but actually Amadeus still can't perfectly replace the ambiguity of human memory. Replicate? Replicate. In other words, I can't completely replace the high-level brain function that is forgetting. Huh? But the ATF semester, Dr. Leanskin said that Amadeus would forget unneeded information. Yes, I do forget things, but remember what I said, I record things in a log, like it's my secret diary. So in the end, all the information is still kept there, and if I load that, I will get data, all the data I should have forgotten will come flooding back to me, okay? In other words, asking her to forget was a waste of time. Another plan would be to delete my logs, but those are my backups, so that's not happening. Even if I could delete one area, the result would be the same. I would analyze the surrounding conversation and automatically reconstruct the missing portion. If you want to alter my memories, you'll have to mess with the primary program. I don't have that level of access, and I don't understand how the program worked at all. So basically, until I told Chrisu why I called her Christina, she was going to keep asking. What a pain. So, why Christina? You really don't give up, do you? I'll hang up right now if I have to. Even if you won, as I've just explained, I won't forget. The more you're trying to change the subject, the more interested I get, you know? Or is it a ploy to get me to pay attention to you? You're the one who wants attention. You called me in the middle of my university lectures. And not only that, you message me all the time online. an instant message application developed by Itaru Ashida. If both users have it installed, they can communicate it with one another via voice and chat. Since it's privately developed software that isn't available on the internet, Ashida right now only on the internet. Right now, only Itaru Ashida and his friends can, and his acquaintances use it. Oh, so okay. You got too much curiosity. If you keep poking your head in things, one of these days you're gonna regret it. A scientist can't function if they're not curious. She got mad at me. If you're that interested in why I call you Christina, why not come up with a theory yourself? I have a few actually. Listen to these. She's really into this. Theory 1. You got a crush on a Hollywood actor named Christina. Wrong. You think I have the looks. Do you think you've got the looks for a Hollywood actress? Looks don't matter. It's like how you feel a closeness to someone with the same name. So this is what you were saying, in other words. Okabe Minato feels close to me. It's just an example, don't try to read anything into it. It's a joke. Whenever I talk to Krisu, I always want to tease her. I need to watch out. Theory 2. You once dated a foreign girl named Christina. Given your terrible English ability, this one's out of the question, huh? It's possible I dated a blonde babe who also spoke fluent Japanese, isn't it? Did you? Nope. Silence is admission of defeat. Sorry. Theory 3, you knew the original me and called her that either directly or indirectly. This is also unlikely. If you called me that, I knew what I'd say. This is also unlikely. If you called me that, I know what I'd say. Stop adding Tina. Yep, that was exactly right. That's exactly what Krisu said. But I didn't stop because I was embarrassed. The genius named Masaku Krisu was the person I always wanted to be. What? Wait. What do you mean? I couldn't bring myself to say her name, so I came up with a nickname to hide my embarrassment. Embarrassment? Yeah. Not just with the original either, but it happens when I'm talking to you too. Me? I mean, I've never talked to a girl inside of a monitor before. What? Well, thank you. Why are you blushing? I'm not. I just didn't expect you to treat me like a girl. It surprised me a little. Even that reaction was just like Krisu. That's the part of you, I shuddered. What was I about to say? This was a 3D model on a screen, a tiny collection of ones and zeros in the shape of a human. What was I about to say to her? Hey, can I ask you something? We know each other, don't we? I mean, you and the original me. If you don't want to tell me, that's fine, but what was our relationship? I'm kind of curious. Did I not get mad at you when you called me Christina? Or did I get mad but then laughed and forgave you? I don't want to die. I was hit with a violent urge to throw up. I could see Krisu in front of me covered in blood. She was looking at me, her eyes cold. You killed me. What's wrong? Hey, you gone pale? I touched the smartphone and ended the call. I became too dizzy to stand. I tried to throw up, but nothing came out. My hands were shaking. That's right, I can't change reality. But there I was, trying to talk to Krisu like nothing had happened. I was treating her like the real Krisu, trying to avert my eyes from what I've done. I was just clinging to Krisu. This is wrong. I shouldn't talk to Krisu anymore. The call was from Krisu. I feel like this is a good place to end this episode. Thank you all for watching. I'll catch you next time. Bye!